Hey, you're upside down. That's pretty funny. Where'd you go? No. Well, this is certainly not the second goldfish video we were planning on making. Hey everyone, this is Andrew from Gardening and Goldfish. Our 4-year-old goldfish, nearite snails, and plants were all doing well up until March. Then Big Red, who had jumped out of the tank over a year ago, jumped out again. We found her in the morning like before and got her back in the tank, but this time she didn't recover. While it was always fun seeing and hearing her dart up at full speed to the surface and splash water outside the tank, it was always a little worrisome that she would jump out again. Because the 3 fish had all grown so much, we decided having just 2 would be fine with our 125-gallon setup and weren't planning on replacing her. Then in April one day, I awoke to find Lightning dead. He had seemed normal, all fins, scales, eyes looking sharp with his usual active behavior. A real beautiful fish to watch. In my 27 years of fish keeping, he was one of my all-time favorites. A few days later, Scout, who had had some eye issues over the last 2 years, but otherwise seemed normal, died as well. Water tests as usual came up with 0 ammonia, nitrite or nitrate. The nearite snails all looked healthy and active, which would seem to rule out some kind of metal or chemical somehow getting into the tank. The plants seemed normal, doing my usual 1 to 2 cups culling a frog bit each week. There had been no change in food, water flow, temperature, or anything else that I could tell. The one new thing I noticed after Scout died was that a small type of spiral snail that had lived on the top of the Amazon swords for the last several years were now coming down on the lower leaves and onto the glass. They had never done this before, or at least not that I had noticed. I'd always assumed the reason I only saw them on the top parts of the leaves was because the goldfish would eat them if they could, just like they had done to all the pond snails 4 years ago. I thought about maybe cutting one of the fish open to see if they had swallowed too many and caused some type of a blockage problem, but in the end decided against it. We were upset enough as it was. So we're very bummed that our 3 goldfish only lived to be 4 years old. They were such a delight to watch swimming around, doing their waggle dance before feeding time. If their activity level was any indication, they certainly seem to have enjoyed their time living in our aquarium. We'll miss them very much. I did get a new fish, a Ryukin, that's testing out our tank to see if there's something in it that might still be a problem, in the same way that Scout, our first goldfish, had done 4 years before. I have a quarantine tank set up if he needs any medication, and I'll put any future new fish through a quarantine procedure before adding them to the new tank. Since adding the new fish, the tiny spiral snails are no longer to be seen below the water surface. Ranger, as we're calling him, appears to have eaten them all. Once we made the possible connection between the appearance of the spiral snails and our fish deaths, we did a thorough search of the leaves and removed everyone we could see. While it was interesting having them in the tank, we're not going to risk another fish death if that was in fact the cause. So, sorry for the sad update, but sometimes that's part of having an aquarium. So wish my new Ryukin good luck, thanks for watching, and happy fish keeping.